Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Jolene, and I will be in place of Lyndon Coffee today. We're sending our thoughts to Lyndon and everybody at American Recycling. Today we have Vicki Rice, Recycling Program Coordinator at the City of Modesto. But before we have Vicki talk about edible food recovery, we will start with introductions.
And I'm going to do the Zoom room first. John, I'm going to start with you, and can you confirm that you can hear us okay? Oops, I'm not hearing you. Let me test. Hey, Madhu, can you unmute so I can see if I can hear you?
Now, can you hear me?
Oh, now I can hear you, John. Yep, we got it.
All right, that was on my end, I guess.
Okay. Could you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you. So I'm John Valines, and I am COO over at the Modesto Gospel Mission and been a long time Green Team member.
You have. Thank you. And Madhu, we'll go back to you.
Oh, hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Madhu Singh. I'm the branch manager here at Bank of Stockton at the Dale Road office. And I'm also a board member.
Thank you that you are. And Cindy. Cindy with Blue Diamond, are you able to unmute?
I'm here. Sorry, it took me a second to get that off. I'm here with Andrea Fergoza, and we're from Blue Diamond Growers in Turlock, and we're both part of the sustainability team here at the plant.
Awesome. Thank you. Nice to have you both. And in room, George.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. George Isaac, I'm the sales director for Rubsco. We're a manufacturer out in Riverbank. Not only a Green Team member, also a long-time member of the work.
Yes, I'm sure you're joining us on Friday morning.
I am.
Yes, I guess that's tomorrow already. I'm Trish Christensen, President and CEO of the Modesto Chamber of Commerce. Hoping a few more people will join us, and I'll echo what Jolene said. We're keeping our thoughts with our friends in American Recycling and hoping that they get through this and land on their feet very quickly. With that, thank you, Vicki, for joining us today. Is there anything else you want to add, Jolene, before we hand it off to Vicki? No, we're good. All right. Let me change screens for you here real quick. Wait, which one am I directing? This one. Yeah, you're kind of talking to me. Yeah. Give me just a second though. Fix this. Away. Okay, you are good to go.
Hi, everyone. I'm Vicki Rice, the recycling coordinator for the city of Modesto. I kind of jumped in quickly to give Lyndon a break and take care of what he needs. And I also, we all have him in our thoughts and prayers to get through what he needs to get through. So today, I spoke a few months ago and we talked about the new law, SB 1383. And today I'm going to just dive in a little bit deeper and talk about edible food recovery. This portion is, for me, is just very exciting. If we can do anything good on helping feed insecure people in our area, I am absolutely all for that. This law requires the city of Modesto and everybody in the state of California by January of 2025 to increase our food recovery 20%. And I definitely think that's doable. We already have a lot of organizations that are out there doing the right thing. We just haven't been capturing it. So this will require the city of Modesto and Stanislaus County to capture all food waste. So as a result of this, the city currently, we've began the process And we've identified the food service providers that need to start their recovery if they aren't already. And we'll be matching them with the food recovery organizations that we have in Modesto. And I'll talk about that a little bit more as we move forward. So this law was created for us to work on fighting hunger and at the same time combat climate change. So currently our figures are 1 in 4 Californians don't have enough to eat. So that could mean they're going, to bed hungry. With the introduction of COVID and our smallest people that were affected, children, sometimes their best meal of the day was breakfast and lunch at school. So although kids are getting back to school and hopefully things are getting better, it's just, we've been very conscious about that. So the reason this law started was to really start mitigating air pollution. When organic waste, which is food waste, breaks down in our landfills, that creates a methane gas, which is, believe it or not, 25 times more potent than carbon monoxide. The great thing about this, if we can start recycling organic waste, we can see almost an immediate change in our climate. So obviously we want to do that. So this is Senate Bill 1383, and this will require all eligible businesses to donate edible food to recovery organizations that would otherwise throw them away. One key to keep in mind is we already have a lot of organizations like Feed America. A lot of our large grocery stores are using those. So it doesn't necessarily mean the businesses that are affected in Modesto have to donate to Modesto. So they can donate outside of the area as well. So beginning this year, the city will provide a list of food recovery organizations that are required food donors and keep records of that required food. So currently I just wrote a grant, the city or the state of California, we are earmarked for $287,000. And a portion of that grant will be to create a software program or to purchase one so that we could go into all of these organizations quite easily, set up contracts and start monitoring the pounds of food that they're donating. So we're excited to get that. We should know in April if we got the grant, and then we will start the procurement process of identifying a company. There's a lot of companies out there that are doing this right now. So very excited about that. And we kind of jumped the gun and already started interviewing and seeing what's out there. Very heartwarming stories on food recovery. Really quick, I'd like to just mention the food recovery hierarchy. So the first thing that we like to see is source reduction. So as you all know, if start limiting the amount of food, we all go to Costco. There was a panic during the COVID, is there going to be enough food for everyone? So really think about what you're purchasing. Is that going to waste? Your packaging, a lot of our food packaging ends up in landfill. So buying in bulk and things like that. So that's really the first tier of the hierarchy. The second one is feeding hungry people, and that's kind of what we're talking about today. So we're going to get as much of that food waste that's eligible for feeding people out of the landfill. The next hierarchy is animal waste. So if it's not food that we can safely donate, we're going to donate to feed animals. Jilton here, one of our franchise haulers, has a huge animal feed waste program, which is awesome. The next would be industrial uses. So how can we take our greases, our biosolids, and get that, which they make a lot of products like cosmetics into that. The next one would be compost. For those, if you don't know, the city owns and operates a compost facility here. So a lot of your green can, food waste at restaurants goes directly to our compost facility to process that organic waste. So if we've done all of those categories and still we end up doing some landfill and incineration. So the goal again is that 20% to start recovering at least 25% more eligible food waste. The next screen is who must donate. So the state of California divided everything into tier 1s and tier 2s. City of Modesto by February 1st was required to notify all of these businesses. And in our case, it's about 250 businesses in both of those tiers, those letters. And information went out on February 1st. So we've already been getting, some calls back. The tier 2s, again, don't need to start until 2024, but they're, restaurants, education. So it was important that we let them know that this is coming. So when we talk about tier 1 businesses, those are grocery stores. So my immediate thought are our main grocery stores, the Save Marts, we have a Safeway, our Raley's. But quite honestly, in Modesto, we have 41 eligible grocery stores that fall into this tier. And one of the conditions is they have to have 10,000 square feet or more. So we were boots on the ground on some of those that we couldn't really figure out by public records with our little wheel and figuring out how large they were. We have a lot of cultural Asian markets, Hispanic markets, so we will be notifying all of those grocery stores that this may be something that they've never had to do before. We'll be contacting food distributors. We only have one, wholesale food vendors, and food service providers, which we have 5. So all of those come into play in tier 1. And a food service provider, an example would be the DoubleTree Hotel. They're a food service provider. They're the main caterer for the convention center. We have 3 school districts here in town, and they all provide nutritional services. So they will fall into that category. And the last one that it was interesting is the professional caterer with Modesto Nuts. So they again start donating food this year. So we're excited about that opportunity. So once you guys are out and about in the community, just kind of start looking, you'll start seeing there's a lot of restaurants that already have not specifically food waste bins, obviously for donations, but they're already source separating their food stuff. Tier 2 is where we're going to start looking at restaurants, which obviously they are most likely to have a lot of food that they can donate as far as prepared food. There's some conditions about what that equals. And there are restaurants with 250 more seats, or that they can seat, 250 people. Health facilities, which we have 3 hospitals here in town that have cafeterias. Large venues, and I didn't put it on here, and events. So large venues are our convention center, John Thurman Field, Mary Grogan, our soccer field, although they don't have a caterer, so they won't really apply, and our education agencies. So a lot of our schools have what's called a shared table. So at the end of the day, they can put their oranges and all of their stuff that they didn't eat. Currently, that all goes back to the kids. They can either take it home at the end of the day, depending on the school, or a lot of our schools will process that fruit into a fruit salad the following day. So that'll be something that we'll be also able to donate to our food pantries. Well, what can be donated? So what I did was, under the definition, it would be food that may not, it's certainly good, but it may not look, apples, oranges, fruits, presentable for sale. It could be fresh food, it could be surplus food, packaged food, food that's already cooked and needs to be warmed up. So there's a lot of categories of what equals donated food. In this area, what we did is we contacted every food pantry that we have in Modesto. We currently have 15 types of either a food pantry, a food recovery organization, And John is with us today, and the Gospel Mission is certainly one here in town. What I noticed, we sent out a survey, and I wanted to know how big they were, what they could accept. So could you only accept, dry food? Could you accept food? Did you have a kitchen that you could prepare food in, only packaged, frozen food, cold food? So we kind of looked at what they could take. So when we get to that point of donation, when food becomes available, we'll know how to direct that food. So currently we have 15 here in Modesto, 3 like the Salvation Army, the Gospel Mission, the House Church has a very large donation area. The others are small, kind of grassroots churches that have pantries. And that 15 is currently at 11 due to either suspended services due to COVID. Our church is not operating right now. So we've contacted all of those, and such a positive response from our smaller pantries that typically people wouldn't think maybe to donate food to, for example, the Well Church on Claus. So now there's going to be more of a coordination so that we can make sure that they're getting food as well, instead of them always going looking for the food. So really excited about this. This is very important about the protection. How we are protected by the Good Samaritan law when we apply CPR to somebody. This is exactly the same thing. It is the U.S. Code 1791. It's known as the Bill Emerson Good Samaritan Food Donation Act. And I'd like to just read this to you so you can kind of get a clear understanding. A person or a gleaner, and a gleaner is somebody that may go to, with permission of course, to once a field is harvested, that there's still so many good potatoes, corn, tomatoes on it, that you could get that food and donate that. Shall be not subject to civil or criminal liability arising from the nature, age, packaging, or conditioning apparently wholesome food or an apparently fit grocery product that the person or cleaner donates in good faith to a nonprofit organization for ultimate distribution. So this is important. A few years ago, 8 years ago, when I used to work for the convention center, we had very large food shows. And the point of those food shows was to show potential restaurants and businesses what they had to offer. For example, 7-Eleven, you can purchase all of this food. At the end of the day, it was a crazy amount of food that was, wasted. We would identify like the Teen Challenge, Salvation Army, other things that they could get. They could get that food, but now this will be a requirement when the convention center holds that event in pre-having the event. They'll have to identify some donors. And an important thing to note is that this does not prohibit, using that example again, giving that food product to employees or donating it to people taking it home yourself if that is permissible. So just keep that in the back of your mind that the Bill Emerson Good Samaritan Food Donation Act really protects all businesses from donating. That is all I have. I would like to, any questions? Still awake.
No, they're here.
And I'd like to offer this adorable package. Can you see that, everyone? Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna ask one question, see who paid attention, and you will win this.
There, you can see who you're talking
Okay, so is everyone ready?
to.
So just be the first one to unmute and answer the question, and this gift will be yours. So I talked about quite a lot the Good Samaritan Food Donation Act. Who wrote that? Anyone know?
Bill Emerson.
Okay, who's that? This is for you, Madhu, and you can pick it up here. Good job.
Thank you.
Tomorrow. Okay, John had unmuted. He might have a question and Madhu was, I think, thinking of.
Yeah, I do. I do. Hi, Vicky. Good to talk to you again. See you. So on this kind of as a practical note, what do you anticipate? So for example, for those of you that don't know, the mission, we pick up bread daily and pastries from most of the major grocery stores that are, about to expire. We get milk sometimes, from from Crystal Creamery. We get stuff from Starbucks and Costco daily. But as you're talking about these restaurants and things, what's just the mechanism or vehicle? It's so hard to, like we have to go do bread runs, but for all these restaurants that have leftover food or, is it kind of going to be incumbent upon them to try to deliver it or is there any thought about how that would work as a practical level?
So we did kind of, when I sent out the survey, that was a question that we surveyed pantries and organizations like yours, like currently, like how do you do it? So at this point, the city doesn't have any plans or money for us to be able to be the recovery vehicle. I do know that Memorial Hospital uses, Grubhub or Postmate, whatever. That's how they get a lot of their cafeteria food that's left over and Bible donated. So it'll kind of be up to the organization. Our hope is as we receive the grant funding, that part of what we're looking for, besides just the monitoring and the calculations of what we need to get to Cal Recycle, we would love a part-time coordinator where all the food donations funnel into, and they can call you and say, hey, we got this. Would you like it? How can you get it? So that's kind of where we are right now. And I know a lot of other cities, San Diego, larger cities have actual organizations that have come into the city that's what they do. And obviously there's a cost to that. So, but right now we're just trying to get through this, John, and make sure that reporting and.
Yeah. And as a follow-up, just to let you know, you probably already know this, but our experience was for years, we got food daily from all the grocery stores. And then about 3 years ago, right when I came on, that's when Feed America got involved. And they all signed contracts or whatever they did with Feed America. And so that became a big deal. And then Feed America's, local affiliate is Second Harvest. So we had to join Second Harvest, and Second Harvest was really good about that. And they kind of said, hey, we're not going to charge you as long as you pick it up yourself, you can keep it. But we kind of saw that with the big companies already, where they bought into Feed America and so forth. So
what I did hear on that note was, and it sounds like you have your own agreement, which is awesome, but some of the smaller pantries, even when I talk to the house church, they get revenue from their tidings from their parishioners. So when they go to Second Harvest, they have to pay for the food that they need. If they're don't have the specific donations that they need in their pantry and they may need to supplement and get bread, eggs, whatever, they do pay for that product. So, and they are able to, and that's awesome. But for some of these other smaller ones, they may not be able to. So it'll be nice to match them with some of the smaller grocery stores that maybe only have, 10 loaves of bread or whatever. So.
Well, no, yeah. And on that note, exactly, we were getting, bread and pastry products daily. And then we were told, by Save Mart and Safeway and Rayleigh's and Costco that, hey, now you have to go through Second Harvest. And at the time, this is before Keenan was there, but at the time, and they're like, well, we'll do that, but you got to sign our agreement. And I'm looking through the agreement, and it's their pricing sheet. And we're like, we don't buy food, we buy hardly any food. We, graciously have people donate and stores donate. So it was kind of like, we're not really set up to be buying large quantities of food. And I think that's what a lot of people don't know is now they sell it at a discount, but it does add up quickly. So you're right,
And I just found it out during the surveys and really it hurt my heart. And obviously they're a business. I totally get it, but just in hopes of, as we get through this process, there's other means to do that if you can't afford to buy the food, so.
Yeah, and then just so and I'll kind of publicize some of our donors. Last year, fiscal year, we got grants from Albertsons, Safeway, and Ramus Foundation in Manteca. So we bought a big refrigerated truck. And so now we can pick up refrigerated foods and frozen foods as well. And then this year, Albertsons and Ramus Foundation are going to buy us another freezer and a bread van, replace our bread van. So we're excited about that.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. And that was part of the big survey, John, but I just did a simpler one initially. But it talks about, your food capacity, like do you need more space? Do you need refrigeration? Do you need vans? So that will be something that we'll add in the future because we foresee seeing grant funding through the state as well that we can share with you, like organizations like yours, so you can apply for those.
And then on another note, I know this is just like, I guess you're in my show today, so.
I know. Thank you.
So, but it obviously, involves us, but you had mentioned the software and tracking what the donor stores and food providers do. Are you gonna want the recipients to be tracking it as well?
Yes, that's part of from Cal Recycle. So there's quite a few organizations already doing it and have enhanced their programs to meet Cal Recycle's regulations. So we'll be sending out quotes since we're city government, we'll have to do that. Yes, so it'll be both what they're getting and what is being donated. Yes.
And on that note, I would just say most nonprofits, maybe not the real small ones, but we have to report gift in kind on our tax returns and to our auditors. So for example, we weigh and categorize all food coming in and that kind of thing on donation.
I'm surprised even our smaller ones, they were able to answer the question. They knew, I gave a span of how much they received every year and everybody seemed to know. So.
Yeah, it's funny. And this is just for, the tax people in the room. So we, everything we get through the Second Harvest side, and we get other food as well, but through Second Harvest contacts, we weigh and send reports to Second Harvest. So we claim the gift in kind on our tax returns. They claim our GIC on their tax returns, and then Feeding America claims the same GIC on their tax returns. So, so some of these numbers are being triple counted. So
That sounds like it. Yeah.
yeah. All right, Madhu, it's on. If you got a question, it's on. Up to you now.
You're still muted, Madhu.
Sorry. No, I think this is a great program, and it benefits so many different people. So great job on the presentation, Vicki, and for all the information you shared with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have a question, comment, thought, idea? At some point with that much volume of food, a central place for it to all come and then be picked up by those in need would be awesome.
Yes, awesome.
So I see none. Let me stop screen sharing here real quick. I always have to think when I'm driving two buses here, which one I have to. There we go. Very good. Well, do we have any fun facts or just general business or planning updates anyone would like to share? Lyndon's 30-second infomercials. You can have a minute today if you'd like. Nothing. I will just sort of announce a reminder. Our soiree is taking place on March 10th. Had been scheduled for February 10th, but the Omicron wildfire a few weeks ago made us decide to move it. I'm really glad we did that. But we are still selling tickets, and we have a little more time to take sponsorships. And let me know if you need help registering. We'd be happy to have you. We have a tomorrow's talent event coming up on March 17th, if I have that right. We just started promoting that. That's in partnership with Modesto City School District, Modesto Junior College, and Tomorrow's Talent is an organization. We are the third community that they're working with, and they will have high school presenters sharing some of the programs they're doing. The focus of the first one will be on cybersecurity programming and building pathways from high school into internship opportunities. So we're hoping to draw a lot of businesses, regardless of industry, to this event. It will be taking place in the evening at the Mary Stuart Rogers, I think they call it auditorium at Modesto Junior College West Campus. And right near the end of the month, we will be having a SCORE webinar. The first one of those we are co-hosting with SCORE in a while, and I anticipate those will become a monthly thing going forward. And outside of that, every program and committee is up and running, so feel free to jump in anytime.
How much are the tickets for?
Individual tickets are $50.
So Trish, I would just like to remind everyone this Friday, tomorrow at noon, or no, it's 11:30, the Government Relations Council is also meeting, and we'll have a presentation by two of our newer city council members, one on the comprehensive general plan update and one on the Tuolumne River Park. So they both should be good. That's 11:30 to 1 o'clock tomorrow.
Glad you brought that up. I can't believe we're through the third week of the month already.
I know.
We're also having a welcome team and ambassador team meeting tomorrow morning at 8 and actively growing our welcome team. So any business and industry that's a chamber member is welcome to send anyone from their team that would like to engage, help meet, greet, and welcome new businesses and new members and network.
One of the events that used to be on the calendar was the annual luncheon in April. That's still.
We're still waiting for, no, they have to be able to host.
Okay.
So I don't have an answer on that, where that answer is pending.
Right.
We're hoping.
That was always a great event.
Yeah. So
500 people.
yes. On a school campus. And so their protocols for COVID can be a little bit different. So, right, at the Ag Pavilion. So our hope is that that one takes place. That's the scholarship funder for the FFA programs at the high school level. And then really like to believe that in September, we will bring Harvest back in the same way as it used to be to scholarship, generate scholarship funds for the ag students at MJC going on to university. So pending. Things are still pending often around here.
Just excited about being in person.
I know. Not another virtual. I totally appreciate that. So unless someone has something else they'd like to add, you're welcome to, but we will give you a little time back in your day, an extra 15 minutes back. Grab a bite to eat before you refocus at 1. That it? All right. Well, thank you very much. You guys take care. We will talk to you soon.
Thanks again. Thank you.
Welcome.